welcome to the Angel Rewatch, the spoiler-free retrospective podcast on Angel. I'm William.
And I'm Derek, and this is a podcast for Quickening, originally airing November 12th, 2001, written by Jeffrey Bell. In England, 1764, Angelus and Darla come into Holt's home and kill his young wife, child, and baby. Holt's, meanwhile, is searching at the wrong home for them and arrives too late to save his family. It's pretty horrifying. In present day, Angel comes in to see Darla as she's asleep on the bed. He touches her child, and she asks him if he's going to do it or she. That's right, after Offspring, everybody Angel is super on board with boring the hell out of this baby. Everyone is still assuming that the baby is some kind of evil monster, because there are so many evil monsters with souls on Angel. Well, there is Wolfram Hart. A jumping mailman shows Lila a tape of her doing the mystery dance with Marcus Angel. She goes to confront Gavin, who has found the Hyperion with a lot of dramatically inconsistent cameras. They use the cameras to discover that Darla is pregnant. While Angel Investigation goes to break into a hospital to give the baby an ultrasound, everyone and their mother is after Angel, Darla, and the baby. Holt's getting a double-century history lesson from Sajan, the demon who resurrected him. They apparently have a deal going back centuries to work together to kill Angelus and Darla. For some reason, this required Holt's taking the Captain America challenge ×3. The New Holland, Gavin, and Lila are determined to get rid of Darla's pregnancy before the senior partners find out and hire discount Bela Lugosi to do it. The jumpy mailman is also working for some kind of master who is awaiting the birth of the child. And there's a vampire cult. They all converge on Angel Investigation and Darla as they end up at the hospital. Wesley is apparently an ultrasound expert and can figure out the baby is a human and a boy. Angel's all happy, and then the vampires attack. They want to protect the quote-unquote miracle child, but also want to kill every human in the room to feed to Darla. Darla's super down with this until she realizes that they plan to kill her afterwards, so she switches back sides. At the Hyperion, Bella arrives and ready to dissect mother and child. New Holland, Lila, and Gavin are watching from their feed as Holtz arrives. They order Bella to kill Holtz, but Holtz evidently runs trains all over the entire crew. Now, safe from the vampires, Angel and crew are in the Angelmobile. Darla is crying for unknown reasons and says it's nothing. They all realize they should get out of town, but Wesley realizes they need to get the scrolls. Angel volunteers to go inside the Hyperion to get him, where Holtz is waiting for him. Outside, everyone is worried when Angel doesn't come back. Their problems get even worse when Darla goes into very real labor. And that's the end of the episode.
Wow, congrats on that recap. I thought, for as much stuff as they throw at the audience in this episode, you went through it pretty fast.
Yeah, well, not a whole lot actually matters. Which does not mean I didn't like it. It's just people chase after them, and then Darla goes into labor for reals. There's a lot of red herrings and things thrown in there, and I didn't feel like including them.
That's true. So how do you feel about the way this episode piles on a lot of exposition all at once?
It didn't bother me. I'm sensing it bothered you.
Well, I'm conflicted on it, because part of me, I really love the sense of like claustrophobia that the episode can do. Like if all of these forces are suddenly aligned against them and people just keep coming and coming and coming, and it also puts more in question of what this child's going to be like, or what kind of significance this birth is supposed to mean. But yeah, it can feel a little like we don't get enough time to see how our characters should be reacting or whatever. Like, we get some nice smaller moments, which I actually really enjoy, but I'm wondering if there could have been more. But then you kind of lose that sense of tension that's building. So,
well, I liked after last episode, no one treated this like it was. I mean, they talked about like what's going on, but really the focus was on Cordelia and Angel's relationship. Where in this one, everyone's just freaking out. And I'm not sure who the Dread Pirate Roberts is working for, the human that comes in and is devoured by the vampires. I think he's working with the mailman guy. I think they're on the same side, or that might even be another group.
Wait, the telekinetic ninja?
Oh, is he telekinetic? I just call him the Dread Pirate Roberts.
he like they cut to him using the Force or whatever.
He gets a message. I assume he's working with the mailman or the mail boy or the guy that works in the mail room.
No. I think the mailman is the vampire cult, and the telekinetic ninja
is another guy altogether.
Is Lila? No, is Off-Brand Holland, I think.
Are you sure? I thought Bela Lugosi was the only people that Wolfram Hart had working for him.
Huh.
Because
there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people. That's why it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I'm willing to go with it because this is a big deal and it should be treated as such. I mean, we've already established that Angel is kind of famous or infamous in the vampire community, and by extension, I think Darla maybe they're like the Brangelina of the vampire world. So their baby's already a big deal, and it's even a bigger deal that it should be biologically impossible. But here it is.
Yeah.
So I do think there's a lot dumped in very quick fashion, but they're just kind of like factions vying for this baby, and they're not ultimately that important. The thing that I think is slower and the thing that's more important is the Holt side of the story, who doesn't seem to be that guy. I'm not sure why he needed to rest for 250 years to get rid of Angelus and Darla now, or Angel and Darla.
Well, I feel like, I mean, Sajan...
He up to something.
The way
he's shady.
He is shady. The way he words it, that you have my, like, that I'll have your word that you will not show them mercy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he seems like he knows a lot more of what's going on than anybody, honestly.
Yeah.
And so if he knows that Angel has a soul and is deciding to use that to his advantage, like, I could definitely see that.
Well, so. I could say that I'm going to guess that Angel's going to be rather distracted.
Right.
So I guess this is as good a time as any to pounce on him. Why he wants to kill Angel, because Angelus is no more. So there's some reason he wants Angel out of the picture, and I guess Darla, and I'm not sure what it is, and I don't think that he is as altruistic as he's coming off to Holtz, because I don't think Holtz is a bad guy so far. Because
no, that flashback.
Yeah, I don't know.
Added a lot.
I don't know why, because it's not like we haven't seen them kill people before. But Angelus and Darla killing Holt's family was really effective to me, and horrifyingly so. And I'm not sure why, because it wasn't like anything was really shown. It's just really, it was brutal.
Well, how often do we see them? I mean, they had the threatening the baby with the Chinese
in the boxer. And Angel doesn't do it because he has a soul at that point. Right.
But actually seeing them.
Well, they don't. Like, we don't see them.
We see them bite the little girl.
It is implied. Well, it's not implied. They do.
They do.
But we don't actually see them. We see them smile at each other to kill the baby. I don't think we've ever seen them kill a kid, which is what they do with Holtz's daughter.
Right.
I think it's just that the fact that those three are so innocent, and I don't think that Holtz's wife has no idea what her husband does, because I think as soon as Angelus and Darla come in, she knows something terrible is about to happen.
Yeah.
Whether she knows who they are before they bite her daughter, who knows. But I think, yeah, that was rough.
And I also really love how they tied in the flashback to that first scene with Angel and Darla. Like, that actually, I thought was also equally as disturbing.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's...
For as much as they use the killing the baby as a joke going forward in the episode, I'm glad they had that.
It as a joke. I just think... I don't get the sense that Angel is at any point thinking that he's going to kill the baby. Which bothered me that they were suggesting a little bit that it was menacing how he went in there and touched her stomach. Little bit.
See, I didn't think it was necessarily menacing him touching his stomach, but it's definitely missing with Darla going, are you going to do it or am I going to do it?
Well, obviously, Darla wants to kill the baby real bad.
Yeah, and I'm glad they had that moment because, I mean, they make some dark humor about killing the baby. Well, maybe we should get a net and a flamethrower and we need a big mallet to...
flames.
We need a big mallet to smash it or whatever. Like,
I just didn't like that everyone else was super on board with killing it because I didn't think that was at all suggested that anybody had a problem. And it's faulty logic as Angel saying it has a heartbeat, therefore it has a soul, therefore we won't kill it. Was at the end of the last episode, I didn't think anybody disagreed with that decision. But here everyone's like, well, we gotta kill it.
Yeah.
And I didn't see where they had built that up besides last episode, but they seem to have dealt with that issue by Angel realizing it had a soul.
Right, and if they still have that outlook whenever they said, they had this, not epiphany, but they had discovered more from those scrolls saying that the Troclon is just a series of events.
Okay, that bothered me greatly.
See, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but if your outlook is like, we need to kill the baby, well, you now know more about what's going on, but I guess you don't exactly know if the baby's evil or not, but why do we have to automatically assume that it is?
Okay, the thing that they come back and said, we interpreted the prophecy wrong, it actually means this. That bothers me a lot because number one, I don't really like prophecies, but if you have to have a prophecy, I would like it to be set, and it can be vague and be interpreted different ways, but I don't like that it just changes whenever the story wants to, because really they come in and say that it's not a person, it's a series of events, because Holtz in this episode is not evil, so it would seem false that he is here to bring doom. That's really why they bring it up. Because they're trying to back out of their big cliffhanger at the end of Offspring. Now, this is not the first time that they have... Wesley has interpreted a prophecy and it has come out to be something different. And I'm assuming that we're going to keep whatever he came into the end of the Shanshu prophecy. If the Shanshu prophecy should stay... Like, I don't have a problem with magic and things. I just want my magic to have rules set in place because there's really no reason to care otherwise. Because if they come back again, the prophecy means something different, then why care about it at all? Because they can just make up whatever they want.
I mean, that's true. I don't necessarily... I mean, even the old wording, or whatever they first said about the prophecy, like...
Just so this being would...
Yeah. I mean, if it said the being would bring about, like, destruction of the human race or whatever... Like, that doesn't necessarily imply anything about evil. It just means that they might do some bad stuff.
Okay.
That causes other stuff. But whatever.
The other thing is that, okay, so maybe it's not evil, but Holt seems to have a singular goal in mind, and that is to kill Angel and Darla, and he doesn't seem to have any other. That could lead to a series of events that ends the world, I'm sure. Right. But my point is that they said, this thing that is coming, this person that is here, he's here now, and then Holtz comes out of the statue. And then they're like, well, it's not really a person. It's more like a series of events. And then what happens next? Well, I mean, it was slightly exaggerated. It may not be the end of the world. Just be like a really bad day for us or something. I don't know.
It might not be right now.
It might be. I don't know. Like, we worked on the translation some more, and it turns out that we were wrong about everything, and this baby's going to be like Jesus. So, sorry.
The miracle child.
Yeah, it bothers me that they have set themselves up. They can logically make up whatever they want, and that bothers me. Like, just set it and be vague about it, not have Wesley come to a realization every episode. There's a new wrinkle to the prophecy that wasn't introduced before.
Right.
And then they can just say, well, we set this up because we introduced this prophecy all the way back in episode 7, and in episode 20 we're going to come up with some even new translation. No, that doesn't work. I'm not okay with that.
And the last line changes the entire prophecy's reading.
Yeah. I mean, I would have the same problem if Wesley goes back to the Shanshu thing, and that turns out to be completely incorrect, and it's really that H is going to die again. Same sort of thing.
Right.
Like, I'm fine with just in that one episode, Wesley interpreted it wrong, and then by the end of the episode, he got it right. But now I want it to be set. Because the vague vampire... Did they... I don't remember at this point, but didn't the Shanshu prophecy say a vampire with a soul?
Yeah.
Which could be the baby. Because, that's the other thing. Wesley can read an ultrasound and tell that the baby is human and a boy.
Why didn't they have Fred do it? Like, if you've already established...
that makes as much sense as Wesley being...
I know, but at least you can be like... Okay,
no, the best part of that, though...
into Fred, and then we're done.
The best part about it, though, is like Wesley's like, well, it's been a while since I've looked at one of these.
I do kind of like the idea that Wesley just has random knowledge, like, oh, this would be really impressive. I should...
Why is ultrasounds a part of the Watchers Council schooling? That's what I want to know.
For whenever the Slayer ends up having a kid, I don't know.
I don't think the Watchers will be down with that.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, it was very strange, but then you have to add like another character or something to come in and read it. I don't know.
No, it's inoffensive. I just found it ridiculous that was like, well, it's been a while. Oh, it's a boy. He's human, and everything's all right. Like, I just thought that was ridiculous. I'm not like enraged by it. It's just I thought it was funny.
So yeah, we do know it's human.
Other thing I think is funny, Gavin doesn't know anybody's name in the high period, but he does know that when Angel and, Marcus and Lila made out on the desk, he knows that was Marcus. Doesn't know anybody else. He doesn't even know Cordelia's name. They just call him Woman 1 and Woman 2.
What is it? Is it just that he doesn't know it, or is it just because the
I don't think he knows
doing the surveillance doesn't know it?
I don't know. You think that they would come up and like they never say, he never hears them say, the audio always cuts out when they're going to say Cordelia or Fred's name.
I like how happy Gavin was when he was like talking to the special forces guy, and he's like, "Here, I've got blueprints."
I do really like Gavin in this episode. It comes off a little bit small. It's mostly shown any kind of personality.
Right.
Because Lila is in deep trouble. So
how do you...
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think about... let's talk about another Holland.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. How do you feel about New Holland? I like him better than Bald Holland.
Yeah, I like him better than Six Flags Holland.
Mm-hmm. He has more of a creepy... air. I mean, the other guy had a creepy air, but it was kind of like over the top. Like this is just more subdued, menacing that comes out. Like he seems kind of nice the way Holland would, but then he can turn on the menace when he wants to.
Right, and they actually had him do stuff, which was why it was more effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like he didn't just like vaguely stare and dodge bullets whenever Lindsay shot at him, but
blame Lila for everything. But Lindsay is perfect. Or just threaten both their lives, but then give Lindsay the job for reasons unknown.
I mean, we saw him have that psychic killed. I liked his, hey, if this goes south, all the blame's coming on you. Mm-hmm. Like he's like, I'm gonna just offer you all up. It was very nice and easy evil thing for him to say and do.
Yeah.
His weird monologue about this is why we take certain blood oaths was a little over the top, but overall he was fine.
I just found that out. I mean, a lot of the things with Woven Heart are pretty much not important.
Right.
Because I'm not sure what faction they're in charge of. Well, I know they're in charge of Bela Lugosi, but Bela Lugosi gets killed by Holtz, which the thing is, they had no idea how to actually get Holtz out of that situation, so the feed just cuts out. Because there's no way, realistically, I don't care how much of a badass Holtz is, there's no way he's taking down 20 guys in that room with guns.
I see. I had to assume that all of the grappler demons showed up and killed all the other guys.
That could be just as well, but it looks like Holtz is about to die, but then the feed... I love how the feed cuts out at the most dramatically opportune moments.
Oh, we can't get any sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Most of the Wolfram Heart stuff is fine. It's just... It feels... A lot of this does feel like time filler. And it's just waiting for the baby to get born. Which, other thing... Have you ever watched a pregnancy storyline on TV where the woman does not have Braxton Hicks? Because I don't think I've ever seen a pregnancy story where that does not happen.
I'm actually uncertain. No, I have not.
Because it doesn't happen. Doesn't matter if you're dead or a vampire, you have to have Braxton Hicks at some point, because that means we can go to commercial break and end the act.
We need a fake out.
Yeah. Or just end the episode. Whatever does Braxton Hicks is like the miracle cure to get out of an act break or an episode. Wonderful.
I mean, it makes it a really clean cut to go to commercial where you don't have to do much thought to it.
Which I don't really think it is, Braxton Hicks, because she then goes into very real labor about a couple hours later.
Right.
So, whatever.
So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. But
well, I don't know what's going on with Darla, because she seems... I really do like how Julie Benz plays it after... When they're in the car, and how she delivers nothing, and when Angel goes and she's concerned about him, that doesn't seem... I mean, it seems like Darla. It's not vampire Darla, though.
Right.
It's glimpses of old human Darla, in just in those lines and the way that she delivers them and the softness that she uses.
Right. Yeah, that was actually a really great performance from her. Like, I love pregnant Darla in this episode.
But I really love her. About to betray them, and then, like, well, no. Once she learns that they're about to kill her, too, then she switches sides.
Like, okay, I'm on board.
And when she tries to cover the fact that she's crying, I'm just disappointed that the vampire cult didn't kill all of you. Which might be my favorite line in the episode.
I mean, she could be disappointed. Vampire Darla could be disappointed. Vampire cult didn't kill them.
I don't think she'd cry about it.
Or even at the beginning of the episode, it's like, if anyone has a problem with that...
yeah, when she gets up. There's a lot of little Darla jokes that really work.
Right.
And just her being over everything. I don't have much more to say about this episode that won't be covered in feedback, to be honest. Is there anything that you would like to point out?
I liked Telekinetic Ninja showing up and then immediately dying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That was fun.
I do like Bela Lugosi, too.
I'm looking very much forward to dissecting the mother and child.
Yeah. Did they say what foreign office he was from? Because I'm just going to assume it was Transylvania. They might as well have just said.
I don't think they said Transylvania, but I do not recall which site he comes from.
Yeah. All right. We can move on now.
Sure.
All right. So first up in feedback, we had Kathleen, who said, a setup episode that could have been better to progress the story further. Felt like we were just waiting for this baby to come along. Thank God Darla turned up a few days before the baby's due rather than several months. Sajan is an interesting demon, like the way he described the world as it is at present time to Holtz. But we don't learn why he's helping Holtz. The gang coming up with ways to destroy the baby and suggesting it might have two heads and skitters was funny. I like to see it at the hospital. Angel and Darla learning as a human boy was special. But how did no one but Fred notice the vampire circling them? And did no one explain to Fred the special powers of vampires having incredible hearing when explaining vampires to her? The baby's effect on Darla is a nice touch. Looking forward to the Angel Holtz confrontation next episode. So thank you, Kathleen. I don't think that Fred doesn't know. I think she just forgets.
I mean, maybe.
I think it's more she forgets, and she's just Fred, and she wants to assure Darla, as if Darla cares.
Exactly.
That she's not going to hurt the baby.
I do love that moment.
I think that supersedes her knowledge of vampire hearing.
Right. I like her threatening the child. I thought that was very funny.
Mm-hmm. I do like that we get another aside with Gunn and Fred, similar to when she asked him for the chart.
Yeah. It's always the quiet ones.
Yeah, I really do like that moment. And I didn't have a problem with the logic of that, because what I just assumed was that she didn't want anybody to think that she was actually going to hurt the baby, even if it is Darla.
Right. Yeah, I liked Sajan. Like, they added a little bit of the Whedon bad guy, where he makes, like, tiny in-jokes or little references, like when he's describing the world. Oh, have you gotten to this part? And then ends it with Beach Boys and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He felt like very much like a Whedonverse villain. Yeah.
I do like his interactions with Holtz, who seems humorless. And Sajan is not humorless.
It helps add a little something to him. He isn't just that bland, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although we don't know much about him. I don't know how much the Angel Holtz confrontation is going to be, because it feels like anytime you end with
he's going to get out of that real quick.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure how.
End a dramatic episode with like dun dun dun, they can't have the whole episode be their confrontation, so it feels pretty.
But the way that everything just kind of
spirals.
Yeah, I was really interested to see the next episode. I wanted to watch how Angel gets out of it, even if I know that Angel's going to get out of it really quick, and that Darla's about to have the baby, however long that's going to take. Like, I just like how everything ends in the middle of the action.
Right. I think it definitely makes it feel like a really good part one. Mm-hmm. And I like getting Angel's face when he sees Holtz.
Yes.
And the fact that they included that flashback at the beginning of the episode really helped put a lot of weight at the end of that episode. Mm-hmm. So.
All right.
So next up we have Alicia, who says, favorite scenes. If anyone has a problem with it, they should leave now. Darla gets up. Not you. Cordelia punches Darla. Okay, I'm in. I haven't had blood in almost a day, and your devil spawn is trying to rip its way out of my body. How do you think I'm doing? Wesley going to touch Darla, then pulling away. Guys, as fascinating as an ultrasound image is of an unborn child may appear, we're surrounded by vampires. Oh, we're surrounded by vampires. You hear that? Our kid's special. Charles, you have an extra dagger I could use? This okay? Perfect. It's always the quiet ones. They don't know the knife can't hurt the baby. They do now. Vampires have great hearing. Vegas, sorry Gun, too high profile. Bad. Holtz and the demon. The ugly demon helping Holtz is ugly as a human too. Other, how does Wesley know so much about labor? So thank you, Alicia.
I really do like the mention of the running gag of Gunn wants to go to Vegas.
Well, they also had, I really liked, Gunn had that joke about, we should get a demon doctor in here, to understand how our vampire girl parts work.
Oh, yeah, that. I do think the Gunn, everyone has nice moments. I like how they use everyone, they're not deep moments, but everyone gets a joke to go around.
The only character that I felt like got kind of lost was Cordelia.
Mm-hmm. Well, she had her whole episode, really.
Yeah.
She does get to punch Darla in the face. And that kind of makes up for anything else.
I guess it's true.
No, but she doesn't do a whole lot besides, being standard Cordelia stuff.
Right.
The one thing we didn't mention in Kathleen's comment is how does no one else but Fred notice? And I could not answer that for you. Because it makes sense that Angel doesn't, because Angel is pretty enraptured with the fact that he's having a boy.
Well, I have a feeling like the vampires are on the, whatever that top edge is what what Fred notices,
Mm-hmm.
and then when she says that, they kind of
They start
come
coming
out
in.
with yeah.
I mean, she's
So that's how I feel.
I mean, everyone's looking at the ultrasound, and it's dark. And I think Fred just looks up randomly and then sees them.
Right.
It made sense to me that everyone was so fascinated, actually, with the ultrasound that they weren't looking anywhere else.
Right.
Besides Darla. But Darla doesn't really care. Darla doesn't care about any of this.
Looks like I'm getting dinner.
Yeah. I don't have anything more to say about Quickening.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, it's strange. There was so much that went on, but
Nothing happened.
exactly.
Yeah. And it was good. It's just nothing happened. I feel
Right.
largely the same way about Quickening as I do about Offspring. I just feel slightly more confident about where it's going. It's going to be somewhere good. As Offspring, I had no idea really there's any hint this was going anywhere besides Darla is having a baby.
Right.
All right. But we do have more comments about Offspring, so maybe we'll have more comments about Quickening next week. Who knows? First up, we had Kathleen, who said, always love a good flashback from Angelus' past. Interesting Darla coming to Angelus' rescue. Gotta love a prophecy popping up at just the right time that is about to come forth. Like Gunn's style of convincing the guy to give up the scroll. Angel realizing he had feelings for Cordelia was true to the character, that he would be oblivious to his own feelings. The We Love You Angel scene with the gang was pretty funny as Angel tries to work out how he feels for Cordelia, and the rest of the gang come straight out and say it. Darla showing up pregnant seemed like a typical TV show move to keep us guessing if Angel and Cordy could get past to be together. Cordy's overreaction about Angel lying to her about sleeping with Darla was a little too much, as she has no right to be angry. Or was it the writer's way of saying Cordy is even more denial about her growing feelings for Angel? Angel's baby having a soul wasn't quite the twist the writers probably thought it was. Julie Brenz was terrific in that scene. And the Holt's return from the dead was a good move, someone with a big grudge against Angel, and not a big bad, but a villain nonetheless. So thank you, Kathleen. We have more about Cordelia's reactions to Darla being pregnant, so I think I want to leave that there.
Okay.
And we'll come back to it. As far as Angel, like I said, I'd like how he doesn't know how he feels.
Right. And even that was my favorite moment, and then he squints and turns his head well, maybe.
Yeah. And the other thing is the juxtaposition of everyone else who's freely going to say that they love him. And he doesn't know, he can't process that feeling. And even the fact that Gunn is involved in that chorus of I love him, I love you, Angel, which I don't think that's a false moment, even if he doesn't trust Angel. I don't think that he doesn't love him as kind of a family member.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't make the connection about he doesn't trust Angel. I didn't make that deep of a connection. But I like that everyone else can be so upfront with their feelings, and Angel gets skittish about even saying the word love. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say it the entire episode. I do it does feel in character with him, and I think he doesn't understand how he feels because maybe the only way he's interpreted love has been his relationship with Buffy, which is so over the top.
No one wants
You know what I mean?
I mean, you want that, but you don't. That is not sustainable.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, it worked really well. Yeah, I didn't feel necessarily the Holt coming out of the statue. It wasn't necessarily that dramatic.
I mean, the baby having the soul and Holt coming out of the statue are not big moments. And you can tell that because Quickening immediately kind of ignores them.
Right, exactly.
Because Holtz comes back, and it's really about Holtz not being a bad guy and having this I still think it would have worked better if instead of leaving him for dead or just leaving him to survive in the catacombs of Rome, because I'm getting the sense that it wasn't long after that that Sajan comes to him with this deal. I kind of wish that Darla or somebody had morally wounded him. And then in this episode, we went back to Sajan goes to find him in those catacombs and offers him this deal that he'll let him live if he works with him. Where this is kind of like Coles is just not pouting, but he's pouting in his old home. And he's just given up.
Right. I don't know. I kind of like that he doesn't have extra motivation.
That's true. I mean, it is a choice.
Right.
He makes a choice to go with Sajan it'd still be a choice. He could choose to die, but I guess that's a good point.
And there is something just kind of nice about him being that broken that he's actually just given up entirely. Mm-hmm. So that you can actually understand more reasoning on why he would make a deal with the devil kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I kind of like that.
All right.
So next up we have Joseph, and he says, 1. I would have liked to see something indicating Angel is thinking about the curse. Since no one knows what perfect happiness means, Angel might be one really good day away from murdering all his friends. Frankly, given the gypsy's motivation in including that part of the curse, if I were Angel, I'd be worried that the bar of perfect happiness is lower than you might think. Hopefully Angel or Cordy will bring it up soon. 2. I'm not sure why Cordy was so mad at Angel, unless the writers are trying to show she has feelings for him as well. So he had sex with an ex and didn't tell her. It's not enough of Cordy's business that she has the right to get angry that Angel didn't tell her. 3. If Andrew takes requests, I'd love to see a count of the number of times an Angel character talks about how wonderful Fred is. I think this was the 3rd episode in a row now. So thank you, Joseph.
Okay. Again, we're not going to talk about Cordelia, because it's going to come up in the last comment.
Oh, wow.
So we're still putting a pin in that. I don't have much to say about the curse, because I don't care about the curse. The curse is like my least favorite thing about the show.
I mean, it makes Angel a neutered, sexless
yeah. Uh-huh.
guy.
Again, you're not convincing me that there's any reason to like it. I feel like they're stuck with it, honestly.
Right. All the tension and none of the payoff.
Yeah. I mean, they have that going for them, which is nice. But nice for them.
It's good for Joseph to bring it up, because it is part of the character. And I would be annoyed if suddenly him and Cordelia got together, and then if they were happy and having a serious relationship, and they didn't bring up the fact that, hey, shouldn't he be evil now? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I guess, yeah.
I mean, it always
comes, the bar for perfect happiness.
It always comes up when you get Angel in a romantic situation, which I don't understand why it has to be. I don't know why the gypsies have such a hard-on for romance, because I feel like if Angel is accepted by all of them, all those people, and he's in a family, how is that not... Why does he need to complete to get all the way there?
Or like in this episode, I mean, he finds
out he's having a kid.
He's going to be a father.
How is that not... How... that baby pops out and Angel's evil now. Like, it's weird what perfect happiness means. And if it's... I just think we should just go with Wesley's definition that it was with Buffy, and that's all.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, maybe that should be brought up, that if the baby gets born and everything's okay and it's this wonderful moment that, yeah, he could turn into Angelus. I hadn't really considered that. That's actually kind of interesting.
I mean, there's all kinds of things going on there. I can buy, though, that it's just with Buffy because they are so... Their relationship is at such a heightened degree that if they're together, I can buy that is perfect happiness. Where if he's with Cordelia, I think that's a better relationship for him, but I can see that might not be perfect happiness.
Or is it some, like, the extreme highs and extreme lows.
Yeah.
So maybe the extreme high with Buffy didn't.
Yeah. I mean, there's peaks and valleys with the Buffy where I feel like Cordelia would be a more consistent, steady relationship for him, which would be better in the long run. Maybe
when he got re-ensouled, the curse is in some weird limbo.
I don't know why we're still talking about it, because it's ridiculous and I don't want to talk about it because there's really no rules for it. It's one of the things that I said I'm annoyed by, that they just make up whatever they want, or they don't talk about it or ignore it.
It's like the prophecy.
Yes.
Like, we can reinterpret it however you feel. Like we did in season 1 when he was on happy drugs.
Oh, God. All right. So the other thing about Fred being wonderful, I am sensing that Joseph is upset with that. And I can understand that feeling. It's kind of like Skye in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or at least the first season, where she was like the most wonderful person in the world. At least Coulson thought, and he told everyone about it. And I didn't. She was fine. I mean, she wasn't great, but she was like she was like the salvation of all hope. Where, I mean, maybe it's just because I like Fred. I'm not annoyed by how people talking about how wonderful she is.
Yeah, I mean, I keep flashing back to when Lauren was talking about her.
Well, that's what he just is referring to.
Yeah.
Which I think just comes up at the moment that she's like being cute, I guess.
Right. Which she does a lot. Because she's perfect.
I mean, she's very precocious, I'll be honest. But I don't think... I can understand why people get annoyed with that, but I don't think they've gotten to a point where it's annoying for me yet.
Right.
In this episode, I don't think anybody talks about how wonderful she is. If anything, there's Cordelia making fun of her.
There's too much going on. They don't have time to say
don't have
how
to
wonderful
stop
she
and
is.
talk about what
they only have
her. Fred.
Yes. That really, there's only like 2 Fred moments that pop out, which is her babbling at the beginning and going, "Okay, I'm going to shut up and let him tell you," and then the taking the knife.
Those are the only 2 Fred moments, honestly.
Right.
Okay. So now we can get into Cordelia's reaction to the pregnancy. As we have Robin, who said Cordelia's reaction to the pregnancy felt awkward. The words she said filled with the soap opera pregnancy story, but she seemed to forget the whole vampire angle to the whole thing. Shows she's more shocked that such a thing was at all possible. And blaming Angel was bizarre, because how could he have possibly anticipated this turn of events? Her reaction also seemed to be based on the story of Angel's growing romantic interest in her, where the pregnancy functions as an obstacle to them hooking up, where she could have been justifiably angry that Angel had sex for risking turning into and jealous. When you look back on his decision, it really was a horrendous thing to do, because if he had turned, he was condemning his friends to torture and death. This episode also did highlight the obvious humor in the idea that Angel, Buffy, and Darla have all been brought back from the dead. Throw in halts, and you get the sense that death is only a mild inconvenience in this world. So thank you, Robin. So, now we can talk about it.
Podcast Papa. Yeah, I mean, I think they knew what they were doing. They intentionally kept it vague as much as possible, because they could have used really direct verbiage. Like, if Cordelia had been like, "How dare you sleep with her? You know how much you put us in danger." About, like, what if you had turned into Angelus?
That's what I'm going to disagree with what Joseph said, that she has no right to be angry at him having sex, because it's not like he just had sex with an ex and she has no claim over him. It's that if he has sex, and his point of doing that was to lose his soul.
Right.
Like, he went into that situation ready to give up. And what Robin says, it didn't come up at the time, and maybe because we remembered that he doesn't, but that is a horrible thing to do to them.
Yeah, I mean, it is his lowest point. It's something extremely selfish. I mean, they talk about that moment in this week's episode with "It felt like the thing to do." But no, yeah, if you look at it from a wide perspective, it is really terrible.
I don't. I mean, it was obviously at the I don't know if it holds up as a metaphor for suicide at this point, because I don't think there's some people who think suicide is selfish, and I don't think that applies in general. But I do think when you're removed from the emotions of what Angel was going through, in hindsight and all that he's not in that place anymore. It made perfect sense when he was going to do it then. And he wasn't in his right mind. But now that he's clearer, you can see how terrible that was.
Yeah, I guess that's how I was viewing it now.
And I think that's how you're supposed to really kind of view it. That in the moment, he was so distraught that he thought this was the only thing to do. But looking back on it, that was not the thing to do.
Right. I know, it works, it works so much better as a metaphor for suicide. Mm-hmm. In a sexy, sexy way.
Oh, right then. The other thing. So I wasn't bothered as much by Cordelia reacting the way that she did, because I think it was supposed to be an irrational response to it.
Right. She's definitely become, like you said last week, like this militant feminism thing that keeps coming out of her. Like they even had a little joke in this week's episode about Gunn's like, well, why does she get to drive, or something? How they word it? Why is she driving? Or why does the man get to drive? And she's like, who says it has to be a man?
Yeah.
Just little reactions like that.
And I don't want to say that all the things that she says are irrational, because that's wrong. But I think there are times when she gets carried away with it. And I think this was one of those times. Because I don't think it's irrational for her to say, why does it have to be a man in the car? But I do think that it spouts out of her at times, and she's not thinking clearly. And at the end of the episode, they make a point of saying that she forgot. And she forgot that she was a vampire and what that means.
Yeah. I mean, I think it stems back to how her character just kind of works.
Yeah.
Like, she's Cordelia. She doesn't think she doesn't know. She just knows.
Yeah, she doesn't think she does. She thinks that she says it. She just goes ahead with it. And that's Cordelia, not just in this show, that's Cordelia and Buffy. She just goes straight ahead.
It still annoyed me that they had her react that way without any follow-up or any actual explaining. I mean, they had a little bit of her explaining away, like her forgetting that Darla was a vampire because she looked helpless or whatever, but her irrational anger towards Angel and just how it became like, oh, he just turned into a man, felt a little weird. It
is weird. It just didn't bother me as much as it obviously bothered everyone else.
Right.
I will say that I had a more stronger negative reaction to it, I remember, when I watched it the first time.
Oh, okay.
But on rewatch, I didn't. Maybe because I was expecting to be more angry about it, I wasn't.
That always helps.
But, so it was just like, oh, whatever, this is weird, but I'm willing to go with it, because this seems to be a flaw in her character a little bit, that she just reacts, and she sticks, and she's stubborn.
Right. I think I was somewhere in the same boat as you, but I was more willing to see, okay, well, let's see where this goes, and if they do anything at the end of the episode to help take away that awkward feeling. And they did it slightly, just not enough for me to, like, explain away that moment.
Okay. The other thing, in Robin's comment, do you think we're at a tipping point of people coming back from the dead? Because he's not really actually saying that, but I'm going to interpret it that way.
No, not entirely. I mean,
I say I have conflicted feelings about it, because I think certain characters should stay. I mean, the only people I'm thinking that have died and could come back is Doyle so far.
Right.
And I don't think Doyle should come back at all. Not just because Glenn Quinn is going to die in real time where the episodes are airing. I think he dies somewhere in 2001, 2002. So Doyle
somewhere
really
during season 4, I think. Maybe.
So I really don't think that Doyle should come back and be played by a different actor.
No.
That's just disrespectful. But even if Glenn Quinn had survived, I don't think Doyle should come back because I think it robs his sacrifice. Even though I didn't like Hero, I like the moment where Doyle sacrifices himself, and I thought that was a good end for his character. Like, if, for example, if Gunn just randomly gets killed off, and there's really no kind of closure, then you can bring somebody back. If there's closure to a character's death, I don't think you should bring them back just to bring them back.
Right.
And there wasn't closure in Darla's death, really. I mean, she dies in, like, the 5th episode of Buffy.
She dies in the 5th episode of Buffy, and she's a completely different character in the 5th episode of Buffy.
Yeah. Well, she's not different. She doesn't really have a character. She's just someone that Angel knows.
The Buffy death felt like it had plenty of closure.
Oh, Buffy dying? Yeah. Oh, we don't even need... Oh, no.
That's
Buffy
a different show.
Season 5.
But
we're done with that.
But, yeah. It seems like if you're the...
Was it a network problem that it takes Angel so long to find out that she's alive? Were they trying to work out a way for them to cross over, and they didn't get to it, so they just decided to do it?
I feel like it's more of the first couple episodes with Angel. They had to get their season on track where they couldn't just derail it again to have...
That might be true.
Buffy come back. That's my personal outlook on it, but...
Who knows?
I like the idea that just Willow is being a dick.
And
didn't tell anybody.
Was. As far as Holtz, though, I mean, they created Holtz. Well, they mentioned Holtz last season.
Right.
But they really created him, and they can do whatever they want. But my thing is, if you kill off a character and there's closure, like Buffy dying or like Doyle dying, I don't want you to bring them back.
Right. And, I mean, it's a different show, so we don't need to talk about it, but at least in Buffy season 6, the whole, like, a lot of season 6 is dealing with there was closure, now we have to deal with the consequences of bringing her back.
Yeah. And that is a good point. I mean, the thing is that Angel went to hell for, like, centuries, and that is not mentioned at all. Would you think it would be? Like, Angel got over that in one episode of Buffy. Maybe 2.
Well, I mean, Buffy brought him back from the brink.
Mm-hmm. Well,
centuries of torture.
I was thinking about this comment, and I'm like, well, who's come back? And I was thinking, yeah, they did deal with Buffy's death in a way that was appropriate, or bring her back, or resurrection. But then I was thinking, well, Angel went to hell, and they explicitly said on Buffy that we don't know how long he was there. He could have been there for hundreds of years, but we still calculate Angel's age as being 250 years old, when really he might be like 450. Because they don't mention that he went to hell and was tortured, and that's like not part of his like tortured backstory. It's the killing, not his actual being with a soul in hell for hundreds of years.
Yeah, wouldn't you come back and be like, okay, I received enough torture. Yeah, now I'm happy.
I mean,
I atoned.
Yeah, I atoned plenty, so give me my soul now. I'm human, we're over. But he still wants to whatever. Just, I was thinking about that. Anyway.
That's interesting.
One thing I want to mention before we get to the favorite moment discourse. I had to look back into our tweets because I thought I had dreamed this in some kind of weird sleeping pill-induced fever dream. But, according to Beggs, Christian King has a cooking show. Neither of us can find the actual promo video, so I want Meg to send it to us because I refuse to believe it exists until I see irrefutable proof about it. But if it does, I will watch it religiously, and I don't even care.
Let me go.
We did find that there is a Christian Kane fan site called Kane Nation. I'm sure they hate us quite a bit.
You totally should go on their forums. Like we were looking for people of why they like Christian Kane and Angel. Maybe you can find some other fan sites.
That's too much work for me. And I'm scared to interact with those people. But I will say that
this your house with pitchforks.
I will say this, that we have extended an olive branch to them now. And if they want to talk to us about the wonder that is Christian Kane, and he's basically like the Laurence Olivier of our time, then sure, we could talk about that. Like a hick Laurence Olivier, I think that's what Christian Kane is.
His majestic hair.
Oh, God. It's so greasy. Anyway, now we can talk about favorite moments, of course.
Sure, why don't you go first?
All right, well, my favorite moment actually is the vampires attacking them just because how everyone gets like a little moment going around. I even like Wesley's like slow-mo staking of the vampire, which they probably just had to put that in slow-mo to actually see what Wesley's doing. But I just like how everything kind of comes to a head there and everyone gets their moment. It's a cool little action scene, and then there's Darla and Fred and all that. So that's why I went with that.
Okay, I actually went with Darla saying, should you do it or should I? Because I felt like that was the most, like, chilling and gripping, and it added a lot to the episode in context with having that flashback. It added a lot of stakes to the episode, and even going forward, it puts an actual real threat onto the child when the rest of the episode's kind of jokey about it. So I actually like that moment a whole lot.
Okay. So I actually ended up giving us a 61, which is the same thing I gave Offspring, because ultimately I feel the same about both episodes. Because it moves this plot forward a little bit, but still we're waiting for Angel Son to be born, which hopefully is going to happen in the next episode.
I give this a little bit higher than last week. It does definitely, it's a part one, so it can't go into like crazy territory, but I just gave it a 65 out of 100. I enjoyed this episode a lot more, even though a lot of stuff happened, but nothing was explained. I just really enjoyed the ride that we're on.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And if you'd like to leave us some feedback, you can do so by commenting on the post at theangelrewatch.wordpress.com.
Or you can send an email to angelrewatch@gmail.com.
Or you can call our voicemail number at 206-203-3276.
Or you can go to the Tumblr, which is angelrewatch.tumblr.com, to see all the reviews archived there and the guests of whatever episode we're watching that week.
We're available on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. While you're there, leave us a review. It really helps promote the show. You can follow me on Twitter at NerdGuyWilliam.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr at TheComfortador.
And next time, we'll be reviewing Lullaby. Whereas Darla goes through a difficult labor, Holtz pursues Angel.